Well, hello there, everyone. Like you talk about, for electronic signatures, what exactly does it usually mean when we talk about electronic signatures? And let's just say that if it's what you call it, maybe writing a date, or if it's anything related to, anything about maybe, signing a greeting card, or maybe you sign, maybe, even for insurance. So let's just say that if we're going to have some practice with writing our names, and half the time you want to word it, even know if it's going to be what you call it, taking care of something important. That how important is it really, just to be able to have, the names, the names provided. So it seems like at the time, even if you go to meetings and then that you're going to see, particular names. So likely you wanted to where the for most of the time, most names, as we know, that it's not like what's called like a puzzle. It's like I'm sure that we've seen this before. When these word searches right here, but basically that whenever you're going to be getting some practice writing, something like maybe like today's date, or maybe taking notes of something important. It could also be taking care of a bill, or maybe if it is related to taking care of something else. That maybe like a grocery list or something. Maybe anything about grocery shopping or something like that. And want to know too that a lot of times though that whenever you're filling out paperwork, it's like yeah, that they ask you for certain source of information, but then one of those is going to be a signature though. And so that's I know that with me though that I've had a lot of practice using programs like Acrobat, just to be able to assign something and just to be able to manage something. But a lot of times it's like yeah, even whenever you file your taxes online, or maybe you're taking care of something else important, they would ask you for a signature. So if we can all see that right there, you got right there's for a signature right here, and so yeah, that most of the time you word to word why is it that maybe that signature though that a lot of times that basically means is a signature is also another way for authorization, as well as knowing about the person's present, and as well as anything else that's important too. But also also mentioned too about about for electronic signature is exactly about auto pay too. So let's just say that yeah, with the electronic signature basically means you say that by midnight or sometime in the late night hours that you say that you whenever you sign up for auto pay. And what exactly is auto pay? It's basically means to where that the funds are let's say they're authorized, you have for permission to be able to be withdrawn from the account. So let's just say that yeah, that in order to be able to pay bills, most of the bills, in order to be able to pay the bills, that you would need to authorize, so you see, to allow the company or the place to be able to to be able to complete a transaction from on the website to the account. So that basically means that if you got money on a certain accounts, like such as PayPal or somewhere like that, and it basically means is that yep, only open up the wall, you just to be able to have access to those funds. Anyway, but I guess another way of how you want to describe for electronic signature as well as auto pay you have right here is the moon right here, the moon nightlight. And so the way you look at the nightlight right here is to where as it orbits around, and want to know just a little bit too that yeah, usually midnight though. So let's just say if you're going to be holding the moon like this right here, and I want to know too that if you're going to be thinking about on this side right here, this will be about maybe 8 hours between time. So a lot of times it's like 8 hours between time basically means is that yeah, for anything that you're going to be busy with, maybe for the next 3 or 4 hours, and until later on in the evening until late afternoon hours is whenever that certain bills are going to be due, and as well as signing something. So it's like yeah, that how many of us have thought of that to where whenever you sign something, you're going to maybe be asked as to where is it was it signed around 5 o'clock, or was it signed around 2 or 3 o'clock, something like that. So a lot of this digital software, as we know electronically, that would have a lot of information available, such as about what specific time was the document signed, and then yeah, that with those electronic pens too. But still though that a few things that I also want you about in cursive though. So I mean, how many of us will learn to where that about what grade were we in whenever we first learned how to write our names and how to spell our names, and a certain ways to say, yeah, if it's in cursive, or that if you have a that type of way to where, yeah, it had to be above the line. I'm like, yeah, that there would be like a line, ask you to sign on the line there, and like they wanted to, yeah, you sign above the line or below the line, but still, though, yeah, how many of us will maybe learn to word it with the electronic signature? That with electronic signatures, though, that there's anything what you call action verbs going on there. There's a verb or a noun, or maybe independent that you clause or pause or something like that on there. So it seems like a lot of times that whenever you're going to be looking at electronic signature, though, you say with the signature right here, but still, though, that if you want to look at it like you kind of like a stamp, to where that if you're going to be signing something, you basically me basically means is to where the time the presence and as well as permissions as well as authorization. So it's sometimes it's really surprising about is to where about a lot of the times with our all electronic signatures and knowing about what you can really do with a signature. And so it seems like whenever you're going to be filling out any kind of paperwork, though, it sure seems like to where that how much of that information is going to be asked for in the paperwork, such as okay, anything about any source of information such as that, like about your marital status or anything like that. But most of the time, it's to say that you'll please about how many spots are going to be asking for your name, and as well as please sign a date here, please sign a date there. So yeah, that with the name though, that I guess you could say that whenever your name, it's not like a prize either. So in case of somebody will warrant to where they usually a lot of times whenever you see a name inside of a drawing, and then let's just say if there's somebody pulls the name from a drawing and want to know too that if you win a prize. But you see right here that this right here, I got this of course on Amazon, but one of these you know these touch word searches right here, and I know that you can't really sign your name on one of these game devices right here, but we can see this right here that that there's like these puzzles right here. That if we can see to kind of see that right there, these puzzles right there, and so you have right here this the circle, the word search right here. But like I thinking too that if you're going to be trying to work a puzzle and want to know just a little bit too to where that whenever you're signing your name, that's basically meaning to where that yeah, it's basically mean your presence and as well as mean to where that maybe if you agree upon to what was discussed on the papers as well as anything about what's called documentation, anything about authorization processing, that sorts of stuff. So it seems like that, yeah, that you warrant too that whenever you sign something, maybe if it's a greeting card, then you also think too that you don't really think anything of it to where that yeah, that maybe that with your name, your name is not just used just because people were trying to figure out how to spell it. So in case of somebody will warrant to where that whenever you write your name on something, that basically means okay, are you saving a spot or are you saying that that's your lunch? If that's your meal, if that's your drink, or I'm like, yeah. So a lot of times, we may have gotten into that habit to where we put our name on stuff just because you say that it's mine. It's mine. I brought it, or something like that, or that it's my, it's something that I bought or something. But still, we might, like yeah, I guess you could say that try to train to where that knowing about how to use our signatures, and especially if it's going to be the electronic signature, to where that ways of how you want to say about as to where the how a signature could be used. But still, though, you see that right there about the electronic signature right there, and you were to word it. A lot of times, whenever you're filling out the paperwork, how often are they going to be asking for any other source of information, such as to just for secure reasons, or maybe anything that is related to application, documents or like your resumes, they'll be asking for that. But if you have a profile, though, a lot of times it seems like that a lot of times that they ask you to, or please, sign here, sign a date here, or if anything that provide some source of identification. But anyway, but different ways of how you want to describe your first signature, though. But I'm also talking about is to where that yeah that whenever you first learned how to sign your name, that maybe that back during even the first grade that you maybe were trying to figure out okay how do you spell your last name, and let's just say if you're trying to write in cursive, yeah, if you're trying to write in cursive or maybe trying to use another type of writing skill. But anyway, you got right here's a signature right here, and as well as with like autopay. So I know that look at like the moon right here, and you're likely worried too that you by the time you by midnight or so, and you're likely worried to where that yeah with the moon right here, because with the moon that I can say that usually around midnight is whenever that most most applications are going to be processed. So yeah, a lot of times it's like between 10 and 11 o'clock or so is whenever a lot of the applications they have to be signed and turned in, electronically. That's a lot of times whenever they're whenever it's processed. But anyway, thanks for watching. Everyone talk understanding about electronic signatures. Thanks and take care.